Hi, this is Frank with a frank opinion. My last video was on Medicare for All. I had done many others, and I had said in my last video that I was going to be no more on Medicare for All. Well, I'm doing another one today. And the reason for that is there are two things that completely befuddle me. One, all my life, and the other one over the last 5 years. The first one is, who made us? How did we come into being? How were the planets formed? Is it the Big Bang? And if so, what caused the material to be there for the Big Bang? The other one, of course, is the concept, the belief in a supreme being that always was, is, and always will be. Kind of hard to get your head wrapped around that one. But the other one is that for the last 5 years, I've witnessed movement leaders of Medicare for All, including the two current main sponsors on the Senate and House side, Bernie Sanders and Pramila Jayapal, do an extraordinarily poor job in answering the question that continues to come up: how do you pay for it? The Nancy Pelosi, how do you pay for that? Well, the answer has been there staring us in the face, and we've kind of danced around it. And I've done a video, maybe more, on this before, but I think it's important to do it again because it's just amazing that it's so simple to pay for it and so hard for people to educate others on it. So, there have been many studies on Medicare for all pointing to the fact that there isn't any reason in the world not to have it, financially, ethically, morally, and medically. But let me take the last 3 major independent studies and average out a number of things. First, the average of the annual cost for Medicare for All, and I'll explain what Medicare for All is briefly in a moment, would be $2.95 trillion. If we take the savings that studies since 1990 have indicated are there, anywhere between 450 billion and 750 billion per year, if we take out the for-profit motive of our current healthcare system, if we regulate provider costs, particularly hospitals, and if we're able to negotiate on pharmaceuticals, and we keep existing revenue that we've been paying out year in and year out, Medicare, Medicaid, Child Health Plus, etc., the average of existing revenue, if we maintain it, it's called maintenance of effort, is $2.5 trillion. So, the annual cost that they indicated is the average, 2.95. The existing revenue, average, 2.05 trillion. What do we need? We need 900 billion in new dollars, new revenue. $900 billion. Bernie Sanders in 2016, 2017, one of those two, came out with a paper called Options for Financing Medicare for All. Wonderful. Had about anywhere between 10 and 13 different options. But his 2 main ones were the following, and they produce the bulk, anywhere between 75 and 95% of the money needed according to those 3 studies. The first one was an employee health tax. I'm using the word tax because we have to get used to it. You can't have a society without tax. Of 4%. The way that you would compute this is household income minus standard deduction times 4%. So a family, actually married couple, with or without children, doesn't make a difference this year, let's say they're making $60,000, they subtract their standard deduction, $24,800, and that times 4% equals $1,408, their annual health tax. Hospitalization, doctor's visits, dental, vision, long-term care, mental health, etc., with no co-pays, no co-insurance, no deductibles, and no premiums beyond that. $1,408 for the year. A rather well-off couple, $500,000 in income, they're married, have some kids. Standard deduction $24,800. You subtract that from the $500,000 and you get $19,008. Their entire bill for the year. Way lower than a platinum healthcare plan on the private market, which would run them anywhere between $35,000 and $44,000 a year. So this family earning $500,000 is saving a whole lot of dollars under a Medicare for All program as conceived. They can add that to the $500,000 and take a vacation to Greece. So what does the 4% health tax produce in revenue? According to the Sanders people in that paper, their economists came up with $350 billion would be produced by that 4% employee health tax. His second proposal, and other countries do this one too, is a 7.5 employer payroll tax, excluding the first $2 million in payroll. Pretty good. That produces an estimated $390 billion. So the 4% employee health tax, the 7.5 employer payroll tax devoted to healthcare produces 350 plus 390 billion equals 740 billion. And what do we need? What's left over? 160 billion. How do we get that $160 billion? There are many ways of doing it. In the Sanders paper, he had an additional 10 or so proposals. Increase in the capital gains tax, transaction tax on stocks and on Wall Street. Other things are possible. But the other thing that might be possible is actually altering the tax itself. So instead of 4%, 4.5%, 4.75. Instead of 7.5, 8%, like a couple of other countries do. So there's this, hey, take money from the Defense Department. Excellent idea. So you're $160 billion short. Piece of cake in today's world in the United States. Who wins? American workers, overwhelmingly. Over 80% would have dramatic savings, reducing income and wealth inequality, ability to take their kids on trips, recreation, extra artistic endeavors, etc. It removes a major barrier to increases in wages. Why? Because in lots of situations, particularly governmental, the cost of the health benefit package for workers is substantially more than that 4% or that 7.5% would be for the employers. So American taxpayers would also have a savings in the amount of taxes that they're paying that's devoted to government employees with regard to health. And American taxpayers would also be able to take that with them. It's your insurance. You're paying for it. It's not socialism. Instead of paying for outrageous premiums produced by private healthcare companies, the subsidies for Obamacare, all those and the others all go to ensuring profits for health insurance companies. It's yours. As I said before, you pay for it. It's guaranteed through sickness and health till death do you part. Again, you change jobs, or you lose a job, you want to go to a different state, you don't want to be shackled to your job, it will be there for you. Now, having said all this, I want to apologize for what I'm going to do now. Okay? And the one, and the two, the Swedes have it, the Brits have it, 33 countries that care have it, they have it, they have health care for all. By the way, half of the 33 countries have a single-payer system. Medicare for all, as conceived and proposed in our country, is a single-payer system, just like Medicare is now, or Medicaid. We've had it for years. We should be used to it. It's simply giving it to everyone. Absolutely doable. whether you are paying for it in the conventional way that we're used to, you have to raise the money in order to pay for the common good of the service. We can see here that it's doable. A 4% employee health tax, a 7.5% employer payroll tax, plus other sources of revenue that may come up with a shortfall, which we saw is not great. Or there is something called modern monetary theory, which right now we're learning all about, which really is the government of the United States, because it produces its own money, because it is a sovereign country, can't possibly go out of debt. It will always be able to pay its bills. And we're seeing this with the bailouts in 2008, and we're seeing it now with the trillions of dollars that are being produced in the economy in order to prevent an economic collapse and to shore up, basically, right now, corporations. Not you, not me, not working Americans, not the working poor, not poor. It's being used to shore up corporations and the wealthy. So whether you're a believer in MMT, modern monetary theory, or you want to go along like we've always conceived of it, conventional financing, Medicare for all is doable tomorrow.